shares zote tuna tank. Me, my shares that I bought for 11 bob, I'm looking for anyone who wants to buy. I don't care what price they offer me. I will sell. And all you have to do is just write a contract for that. Even if you don't sell them looking for buy in NSE, you can trade them with IOUs and papers like that. Even a simple IOU by the tu kuandika karatasi mahali seme, I owe you 10 shillings, and then you repay that IOU with a share certificate from your 1,100 shares from Safaricom. That is an acceptable trade. It is legal, na haina shida. So yes, we can change strategies as well, and on the economy and bring this person down. Other than that, we can also recall MPs and things like that. But at the end of the day, I do believe that the constitution should be our modus operandi. So even if we can do anything within the constitution, but it has power, then we'll be going a long way. Thank you.
Asante sana.
Back to you, Peter.
Thank you for that red-handed Republican. Trini, do you have anything to talk to us about, Trini?
Yeah, I wanted to tell Olwande, I'm glad she's back to the mic. Olwande.
I can't hear you, Trini. I don't know if you can hear Trini or Japonji.
Unanisikia? Repeat on your side.
Alright, cool. Let's rotate Trini. Request the microphone again so that we can hear from you. Olwande the legend, do you have anything to add on this conversation? Olwande, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you, Peter. Just give me a minute.
Okay. Let's give Olwande a minute also. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into Home Run in PP. We are 13 minutes to the top of the hour. And of course, 13,000 from our target, pale viju kwenye our monthly crowd funding pool. So if you like what you're doing and you'd like to support Home Run in PP, go into that tip line 0721948229 and help us get to our target ya ku support studio yetu. That is how you can help us keep the lights running on our studio. So basically, to maintain the independence of Home Run, I have decided not to go to look for money from politicians and such entities. I have decided that we will be supported by you, the listener. Na kwa hiyo, through that, we maintain an independence of voice so that we don't get judged ama kuambiwa tunyamaze kwa sababu tunalipwa. So kwa hivyo kama unapenda kazi yangu pale hivi nachanga ile 50 yako hiyo 100 yako ndio tunatumia ku run studio yetu. So maybe that is a point of note. Now Jahoma Bey, how are you?
PP, I'm all right. I hope you're all right this evening. Yeah, I'm just coming from listening to the head of state speaking today. I don't know what a affordable house construction somewhere in Nairobi, and the president nowadays, when he has nothing to do, he walks to. When he has nothing to do in the office, because he has nothing to do anyway, he walks to one of those affordable houses, and then he goes there with this crowd. Then he starts to diarrhea and spit a lot of unnecessary words to us. But it's what it is. I was speaking to one person today, one of the voters from the village, and he was telling me that we Kenyans, during the electioneering period, especially a few months to the elections, we have a very big problem. And Kenyans, we have a very big problem. And if we don't change this, Kenya will not change. We are the same, you know how foolish we are? We are the same people who are complaining now. And we are the same people who voted for this president. Same people. We were here when he was Raila Odinga's chief agent in the 2007 general election. We were here. Not that we were not here. We were here. And all the issues that happened around him, we were here. And now the ICC witnesses, in this case, were eliminated, were assassinated. We were here. And we were here. We are at Ruto Mgeni. We are the people who voted for him, and we become emotional during the electioneering period. Now we are here saying, oh, we are articulating issues very well here. What I think at 2027, January, February, April, March, hey, all those things will be forgotten. Hey. No one is perfect. Even Ruto is not perfect. That's the problem we have as Kenyans. I want to request you, Wakenya, please. Kama mumeamua, now we want to move away from that bad habit. Move away from it. Move away from it. Move away from it. I repeat again. I've repeated 3 times. Why? Because we can change this country by voting out these people. Unaona Raila sahi anaitisha dialogue. Sasa he has coined it. Ameongeza mafuta na chumvi na roiko anaita conclave. Sasa si dialogue. Anajua vizuri akisema dialogue. Olwande will be mad at him because of all his dialogues. Do you know why Raila anaitisha dialogue? Mimi natoka Nyanza. Do you know why Raila anaitisha dialogue? It's because he knows very well that when that panel is formed, his friends, his political cronies, his political cows must be at that table. And what happens? Mchana, they speak sweet words to the media, sweet words to Kenyans. Usiku, wako pale kwa Raila, wanaambiwa toeni, wekeni. He fixes what he wants. That's the Kenya for you. He knows very well that him and Ruto, the political class, are going to seize that opportunity to take all that from Kenyans, and they're going to put everything they want, like they did with BBI. So it gobbled almost 7 billion taxpayers' money. What does that thing help us with? The NADCO report gobbled another almost 5 billion. For heaven's sake, that's almost 10 billion. How many schools will you build, Pepita, with 10 billion? UHC staff have been on strike here. How much did they want? Just 4.5 billion. But we had people like Opio and I. For heaven's sake, what's Opio and I going to do? Opio and I, Kimani Machungwa. The likes of Kimani Machungwa used billions sitting down, debating NADCO report. So how has that helped us? And this is the difference between us and first world countries. First world countries, when they form such commissions, it is always smart. And if you understand the acronym SMART, and they ensure it is implemented, time bound, and at the end of time bound. That's the difference between us and them. As we like drama, theatrics, innuendos, or sweet political statements. And for the first time in my life, I am not a Gen Z. I've been in this country longer than Gen Zs. But for the first time in my life, I have had a president publicly telling Kenyans that I'm ordering shoot to kill. Or what is it called? Shoot the leg. When you have told a police officer to shoot me in the leg, what are you telling that police officer? Do you think that police officer will shoot me in the leg? How do you differentiate between someone who's going to burn a police station and someone who is being chased by a pug who is going to report a case? Because someone who is going to burn a police station will run towards the police station with anger, with stress and everything. Someone who's, if I'm being chased by a thug, my life is in danger, I will be shouting towards that police station, help, help, blah, 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 shouting, top of my voice. So how are the police going to differentiate these two people? What training have you put in place to help the police to differentiate between someone who is distressed, who has got a case to report? There's no difference. So we are at this, the head of state, ordering this. Kibaki, all these presidents, I know there have been these injustices. During the time of Kibaki, people were killed. And we can't say Kibaki was a saint. We can't say Uhuru was a saint. In fact, Uhuru was even maybe worse. But Ruto is worst. During the time of Moi, I was born during the time of Moi. I think most of us here, all of us were here, were born during the time of Moi. But Peter, what am I saying? What I'm saying is, please, Kenyans, if we want to change our country, let us think and reason when you go to the booth. When you take that ballot paper and go to tick at the booth, do not take that ballot paper. Do not look at the ballot paper and look at the surname. Do not go there with emotions. You want to punish somebody. I hear some voters go to say, go to the ballot to say, I want to punish. They don't go to elect good leaders. They go to punish other people. We want to punish Raila. He is a demon. Ni Kimundu Muguriki. I want to punish Uhuru Kenyatta. I want to punish William Ruto. I want to punish Kibaki. Don't go with that mentality on the ballot, please. When you go with that mentality, you end up with people like William Ruto. Not you, we. Let me put myself there because I'm not a voter. We end up with people like William Ruto. I am happy, Pepita, as I finish, that this is the time I have seen very many youths who have not been involved in politics are now being involved in politics. Why? Because they have realized that politics control the food they eat, politics control the oxygen, politics control the water they drink, politics control the road they use. They have realized that politics control the job opportunities that they are looking for. They have realized that at the center of everything, all these things in life revolve around politics and good governance and leaders. And I have seen even people I never thought would want to be agitating for good leadership, people I never thought would want to be saying, okay, so kuchukua kura na kupiga, kumbe hii si kucheki tu, hii si kuchagua tu UDA, hii si kuchagua tu ODM and DCP. Okay. Oh, so if I am a Luo and someone is amepewa kiti ya CS Finance, hiyo kiti ya CS Finance usaidi. It only helps this person. Oh, I love how people have realized that if you are from Nyanza and Mbadi is the CS of Finance, if he does not initiate programs in Kenya that can help you, waziri wake only helps him and his kids. I love how people have come to realize that it does not matter who is the CS for roads. In fact, I dare tell Kenyans that I, as a voter, I don't mind all the waziris coming from, let's say, example, Meru. All of them. If the systems will be working in Kenya, if there will be good roads, if there will be good water, if there will be proper industrialization, if there will be an end to corruption. Watch hata watoke region moja wote. I don't care. That is Pepita. That is the Kenya that people have realized. That is how the young people, these uprising young people, they are working hard to say this is from there. Hii ni watu wa Mlima Kenya. Mimi si mtu wa Mlima Kenya. I am not. And I'm not a Gen Z. This is intergenerational. And the people have, the earlier they realize, the better. That is Kenya ya kitambo ya 6-10 years ago, where you would auction someone's vote to somebody else. You imeisha. We will never get back there. Some few tribal demagogues are still revolving here. They're trying to push another Peter. It will not work. And I want to request you, young people and Kenyans, those first world countries, munaangalia, they fought tribalism. They fought corruption. They enacted laws. They ensured systems that work. Sisi hapa Kenya, why are our systems not working? Our systems are not working because we have had the same people who have been in power. If not them, then their fathers. If not their fathers, then their children and their cronies. The same people since in independence. Look at Ruto, alikuwa kwa YK 1992. Raila, his father was deputy president. Yeah, amekuwa hapa. Raila amekuwa kwa serikali zote. Yeye tu ni kusalimiana. His hands are very Moi alimsalimia. Kibaki akamsalimia. Uhuru akamsalimia. Ruto, hata kesho when I'm president, he will greet me. Look at Kibaki, Uhuru. Baba yake alikuwa rais. Yeye amekuwa rais. Look at Rigiji. Mafia. Mafia. A high court convicted him towards election 200 million that alikuwa amefanya business gush arudishe 200 million. Venye Rigiji aliingia power, hiyo kesi ilikufa hivi 200 million. The DPP and the DCI withdrew the case. Kesi ikazama. What am I saying, Nick Land? What I'm saying is this: the first world countries munaangalia, where systems are working, where there are job opportunities, where those countries took the hard decisions. They made the hard decisions. They ensured that they don't want to know who is Ochieng, who is Wafula, who is Nduku, who is Mutesia, who is Kamau. They ensured they put that aside. They ensured. And when they did that, they got rid of all these people. Power to water. They brought in new people. They dismantled the systems, because even if you get rid of Ruto now and you leave Ruto's son there, he will inherit that system. They dismantled all those systems. They started afresh. And that's why they are where they are now. So, you will shout here a million times, but if you still go to the ballot and vote along tribal lines, and vote, kama sahi, we are mad at Ruto. If you still go there 27 and vote at you are punishing Ruto, don't go there to vote to punish Ruto. Go there to vote to elect a good leader. And by doing so, you will be automatically removing Ruto. No, either knowing or unknowing. That's what we need to go there to do. Lakini mkitaka kusema hapa sasa tumekasika, mtu kama mimi nimekasika, Ruto out, Ruto, yes, Ruto out. So and now you want to settle for anything. You want to settle for someone like Martha Karua, mwenye alisua hili Kibaki at night. My goodness me. We are not going to sasa ati bora tu Ruto atoke. No. Si bora uongozi, ni uongozi bora. I yield the mic.
Sana Bwana Jahoma Bay. Ladies and gentlemen, Home Run with PP comes to you each and every weekday from 4 p.m. all the way to 9 p.m. East African time. And I just wanted to highlight that we are on a fundraiser mode here kwa kipindi. Kwa hivyo hapo hivi juu kuna tip jalai nimekuwa ikirun. We are currently at 7,000 of 20,000 that we crowdfund to help run the studio in terms of bills, internet and all. So if you like what you're doing, go into that tip jar and support the show. It really means a lot for us. I see Olwanda Mkono Juu. You can also request the microphone. It's just 5 minutes past 7. Let's take 1 minute before that just to tip the show, because tumesimama, we have only had one tip from the start. What the hell? Yes, just had one tip from the start. So let's let's go into that tip jar right now. Tunachukua hii dakika moja after 7 p.m. just to remind each other that Home Run and PP is supported by you. Na nasema kwamba hizi platform, they are because of you guys. Otherwise, kama bila sikilizaji, then we do not have a platform here. Yeah. And we cannot say that we can run it on fumes. Yeah. So tomorrow we are turning 2 years old. Mnaweza tuma pia gifts. Yeah, tomorrow Home Run Pipi is turning 2 years old. Maybe that is a point of knowledge that we are turning 2 years old as a platform. So something to note. Olwande, nimeona 1 minute imeisha na bado watu hawajaweka tips. Let's continue the conversation. Talk to us.
Thank you so much, Pipita. Nilikuwa nasikia tu kwa umbali. I was being called severally by my fellow speakers. But you see, let us look at facts. I categorically likes to look at facts. Issues, real issues. Now, I think somebody has even spoke about what the president was saying today. And I agree, the president is very, very careless in terms of his speech. We don't want him, and for sure, we don't want William Ruto. I agree. But my question, I always ask people, right now, for example, if you say we remove Ruto, let's assume Ruto is gone. Whom do you have to present Kenyans? And will that person be able to work in the environment that we have in terms of parliament, the judiciary, all that? Will that person be able to work with these people? Because you see, you cannot work alone. So that's what I'm saying. As much as we are blaming William Ruto with his leadership, we have to look at the problem from the grassroots. Now, I want to challenge each and every person here. Nani amewahi kwa mstari wa mbele kusema we are collecting signatures? I heard somebody speaking about Meru MP here. Nani amewahi kwa mstari wa mbele kusema sasa sisi tuna collect signatures as a constituency and we are going to send so and so home? No one. And the change begins in parliament. In that parliament, if we can be able even to send just 10 people home, I think at that time MPs will be serious and will know that their job is at stake and they have to do the right thing, which Kenyans have never seen. I've never looked at things in that angle. Now, speaking of tribalism, and I really liked the fact that Jaoma Bey highlighted here. Honestly speaking, if you are telling me that Gachagua is not my problem, I go to the streets. After going to the streets, Gachagua comes in so-called televisions and tell us that, in fact, it's like he's the one who is heading us. I don't know who gave him that mandate. And people are jeering, people are clapping. You know, we have to look at facts the way they are. Personally, I cannot take a bullet for Gachagua. I can't. In all of those mandamanos, I think I've been using my resources, I've been using my own fare, I've been using my own energy. I don't think I've ever been funded by any politician to go to those mandamanos. And it is so sad that after I'm from those mandamanos, Gachagua wants to take credit. Ati Gachagua has the authority to address me today, ati he's calling up upon youths to stop going to the, as who? As who? This is same person who is a main contributor to whatever we are facing today. Look at what Gachagua did in 2023, for crying out loud. Alafu sahi sasa anakuja ati yes sasa anakokoa payslip. How do you create a problem then pretend to solve a problem? And we have here people, even here in this platform, Mwenye huyo Gachagua ndio Mungu wao. If me, I can come clearly and call out Raila Odinga. I believe some of you have seen even my own videos calling out these politicians severally. How can you tell me that all of a sudden Gachagua is your savior? And let me tell you the truth, Kenyans, if it's upon voting for Gachagua, I'll rather even vote for that Ruto, because Gachagua, honestly speaking, is even worse than Ruto. You people don't want to face facts here, and hakuna mtu sugarcoat mtu yoyote hapa. You know, I become so angry when I see on these social media platforms people like Njue now saying, people like Kiprono, you know, I can even call them by names. The only person I think we've always been in one language is Gaido. Because honestly, that is not a revolution. If we are going to call this a revolution, then everybody should pack and go. Starting with the president up to the MCAs. We call it a revolution. Because honestly speaking, we is not the only problem in this country. Personally, I have gone to those government offices. I have seen what happens there. The level of corruption we are dealing with. And it is in all government parastatals. And you want to blame who? You want to blame Ruto? You want to blame, you want to sugarcoat Gachagua. And all of a sudden you sympathize with him. To an extent you say that it's only Gachagua. Gachagua can help us remove Ruto. Who told you? Is Ruto God? If people like Mobutu Seseko was removed from power with the people, then you want to tell me that Gachagua is the man who has balls, a man who broke 28 laws of power. And you want to tell me that's a leader. And people are here juggling. Actually, for me, honestly speaking, I think that is nonsense. I have been spearheading these issues of Mandamano. I have gone there personally. If you look at my timeline, I think if you go and look at whatever I have been advocating for, I'm advocating for a better country. And if we are advocating for a better country, we should call out all our leaders. You want to sugarcoat Kalonzo, all of a sudden you call each other cousins. Cousins for who? Cousins for who? For crying out loud. You want to tell me that now it is one term is now circulating. And we are all saying, our president has failed this country and he should be going home. And that is for a fact. But you as an individual, what are you doing? What are you, because sending Ruto home and leaving the whole parliament in place, you've not solved any problem. So I think those are the issues people should be looking into. Thank you, Pipita.
Okay, thank you, Grace Olwande, the legend. I see Bayo is here with us. How are you doing, Bayo?
I'm doing good. Yeah, thank you so much, Pipita. And happy birthday to the platform. We've literally seen you grow in leaps and bounds, and I know it hasn't been easy. Congratulations. I just want to agree. Well, all Kenyans, we share the same sentiments, apart from very few people. We've seen the problems. The problem we have today as a country is not Ruto. The problem we have today is not Gachagua. The problem we have today is not Raila. The problem we have today is not Kenyatta. The problem we have today is us. We created these people. We are too quick to too quick to trust. You trust every other person. You see somebody eating githeri by the roadside is a celebrity because of eating githeri by the roadside. You see somebody eating what do you call this? Mahindi beside the road. He's so humble, and we want humble leaders like him who can share, the common things that we do. Mtu anakula mturapo hivyo, and you all assume that that guy is humble. You don't know politicians. politicians will they live in flattened buildings if that means getting votes, getting your votes. So all these things, and I think, Pipit, if you can recall, there was one of your spaces said, and some people called me out. I said that the problem is us. The leaders we have is a reflection of who we are. It's a reflection of who we are. So if we have to drain the swamp, the way Grace said, the previous speaker, we have to clean the systems from all the way from the things we can change. There are certain things we can't change, but the things that we can change, for example, all these elected guys, we can drain the swamp, but does draining the swamp, how does it cushion us against where we are right now? Like Ruto took over where Uhuru left. And we all know that Ivan Uhuru wasn't a saint. We all know Kibaki at some point wasn't a saint. We all know Moi wasn't a saint. So how do we cushion Kenyans against all this? I think what we have to do is after Ruto leaving, after Ruto has left, we have to empower all these institutions. We have to go for somebody who has respect for institutions. I see people campaigning right now for Matiang'i. They've forgotten what Matiang'i did. As I said, we are too quick to trust people. You're trusting all these people, you're entrusting them. You say that afadhali mwenye unamjua, better the devil you know. Unasema mara yeah, akona pesa ataiba, but we've seen very rich people. Mnataka kusema nani was a hustler? Ruto wasn't a hustler in the first place. Ruto used our trust to just get to power. He capitalized on our weakness, which is trusting. We trust people so fast. You've seen it even online. Somebody will come up with a weye story, call you some monies, then mnajuta baadaye, but the damage is done, and I move on to the next target. So let us all sober up. In as much as we want Ruto gone, we still have a country to run. Trust you me, revolution, everybody wants it, but are we ready to suffer for some time so that our children or us, we can enjoy tomorrow? Are we ready for that conversation? That's what we should be talking about after Ruto is gone. Who comes next and how? How do we ensure whoever is coming next? Because Ruto was God-fearing and all that. He used to cry in churches. He used to do all these things. He was a hustler. He was like a mtu wa mkono wa watu and all that. And he was a servant. He said he was a servant. He was church-going and all this. So how do we ensure that we don't end up the same where we are right now? How do we ensure that? First, you have to go to the institutions. Like I said, and I think I said this before, but whoever holds all these institutions, like they're your brothers, they're our sisters, we have the police, we have all these judges, we have lawyers. We live with these people and we make up Kenya, what Kenya is. So why can't you start demanding for accountability from the ground where you are, from at family level? Because I believe you have policemen as your brothers and sisters. Why can't you start from there? Let me land there. Nisiwabona story mingi. Pipita, congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm here. Thank you, Bayo, for that. Now, mwana Japonji ako hapa na sisi. Japonji.
Hey, Pipi, I wanted to ask Olwande something. I think she left already. Olwande, if you can take the mic, I wanted to ask you, so what's the way forward? You've highlighted all the problems and everything. So what do you suggest people do? If you have any solution, please, if you can take the mic, just 2 minutes. Thank you.
Olwande, hi there. Kama amepotea. All right. All the while, ladies and gentlemen, as I was telling you to support the show pale with you, I want to say thank you so much to our guy wacha nimpe jina yake. Aitwa John. Thank you so much, John, for your tip. You're currently at 7,400. Yep, close to 10,000. Okay, talk to us.
I will not die in the streets for Gachagua. I think that is very clear. And again, if you ask me way forward, I think way forward depends with Kenyans. Because for me as an individual, I cannot tell what way forward. And if Kenyans are truly serious, then we will send all of this government. But if they're not, then I'm seeing them joking as they're joking. I am sorry to say that we will not fall into this stupidity. We will not lose our lives for all those at Gachagua alafu anaenda hapo ati sasa yeye ndio yenda anapeana as who? I think our cause should be clear in this matter, that we know what we are doing, and what we are doing is, first of all, send parliament home. Me hata na challenge youth saizi. They collect just signatures for 10 members of parliament who are very stubborn. People like Ichungwa, people like Osoro. You see, name them. If they can we can just collect people like Pasaris. If we can just collect signatures here and send those people packing home, I think, first of all, we would have dealt with parliament. And William Ruto would have known that indeed the power belongs to the people. But you see, the way even Ruto was speaking yesterday, ni kama yeye Kenya ni yake. Ni kama all of a sudden, in fact, Kenya imekuwa ni kama boma yake. Anatuongelesha ni kama anaongelesha bibi yake huko anaitwa nani, Rachel Ruto. But we are not his wives. He should speak with respect. If you find a president speaking the way Ruto was speaking today, honestly, and you call that your president, and honestly speaking, it is this voting with emotions that have landed us into this problem. In 2013, I remember, that is after Kibaki, people voted with emotions. That is in our parents, saying that you see Ruto and Uhuru were convicted into the ICC unfairly, and you voted him in. And I'm not saying maybe my preferred candidate, during that time I did not vote, but I cannot say that I had a candidate by then whom I strongly believed in. But in 2017, I had a candidate, and I saw what happened. People have been voting with emotions. They want to blame other people for the problem they have caused themselves. I think it's high time Kenyans change the way they're thinking. And as I said before, if you are in a war, because you see, in 2024, we just won a battle, but the war is still on. Until we win the war is when you can say that actually we've won this war. But as you see your opponent changing tactics, because if we look at things very well, even in these riots that are in the Mandamano, these are riots sponsored by politicians, and we know this issue. And if you know very well, this is the tactic that politicians use. You have to change your tactic to win the war. I think, guys, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. And in fact, I'm not against people going to the streets. It has worked and it will continue working. But I'm against just linking ourselves to that cause only. We should come up with tactics. We should collect signatures. We should send a few MPs home, is when they can know the heaviness of the matter. I beg to stop there.
Malia, not Malia, Dolphin has not spoken to us in a while. Dolphin, habari yako?
Niko salama Pipi, and I think I need to settle some scores with you, but let me do that later. Pipi, mimi ndasema hivi, si maoni, but ni vitu yenye nimeona. Mtakuja kudanganywa hapa ati sijui President Ruto ni mbaya, sijui Gachagua ni mbaya, sijui nani ni mbaya, sijui. People are mad with emotions. Na hawataki kusikiza ukweli ama hawataki kuambia ukweli. Na ukweli ni ya kwamba vipi, we were together not once, not twice, not thrice, more than 10 times. We've spoken about the public policy document that needs to be changed. We've spoken about the foreign policy document that needs to be changed. Hii mambo ya kusema ati sijui Ruto aende kesho, sijui nani aingie kesho, without those two documents being changed, there is no changes that you are going to make in this country, because that is what is dragging the vision of Kenya, and that is what is dragging the relationships between, or the diplomatic relationship between Kenya and other nations. How the fact that sisi bado tunalipa US almost 100 Gs for a visa, vitu ambavyo zinaenda kuwa cancelled na uregeshewi pesa yako. Auoni hapo kuna shida? No one is making noise over that. We are losing billions of money through that scheme. These are the same people who are in bed with the same government because they've got vested interest. Hawa wako biashara kuja kucollect pesa. Because of what? Wananchi wako naive on how to run their country. They will support whoever despot will be leading that country hadi atoke waeke mjinga mwingine. That is, they'll be using that thing for a very long time. So without changing those two documents, hakuna kitu itaifanyika. Because we need to write policies to spearhead the vision of the Republic of Kenya, and those policies will guide the next president on what to do and to be enshrined within the constitution of the Republic of Kenya. Akiingia akuja afanye vitu ambavyo vinaendeleza nchi. Sienda alale mahali fulani akiota, naweza jenga barabara fulani ndio watu wengine wanipende. No. Things have to be highlighted. Economists have to be engaged. Policies have to be drafted. It has to be passed and made to be the constitutions, so that we would not be having a country ambayo msee anaamka asubuhi anasema no, nikienda Western I want to give them 10 billion shillings. Akikuja Central I want to give them some certain amount of money. Like during the last regimes, you see that Central wali benefit sana, but most of the other parts of the country haziku benefit. Hivyo ndio watu wanakuja kusema sai. That is, those are the remarks that I normally read on Twitter or X. Beginning, some other parts of the country wanna feel they are left behind because president alikuwa anatoka huko. So while you are in opposition, you cannot receive developments just because you are against the president. Those things happen in a country whereby we do not have a working constitution nor working public policies. Because the country should be, opportunities should be equal for all and for everyone. Kama barabara inajengwa Rift Valley, mbona barabara isijengwe Coast? Mbona barabara isijengwe Nyanza? Mbona barabara isijengwe? Those are the equal distributions of those things and should be highlighted within the constitution. Si ati mtu mmoja anapewa power, ana act na feelings, mkimkasirisha anatoka anasema oh, no, I cannot give you money for development. It's fucked up. But when with your strong mentality, thinking that you'll go to the streets and overthrow a government, bro, mtapigwa risasi miguu. Ikifika wakati wa kwenda kupiga kura, wote mtakuwa na wheelchair. The same person will come in power. What will you do? The only strategy that could work sahi is to change those policies. Hakuna kitu ngine. Mkisema sijui you are going for demonstrations, sijui so mnaenda kumtoa Ruto, then what? Kalonzo akuja kuwa president? These are the same people. Maraga mwenyewe cannot even fund himself. Atazunguka, atachangiwa na watu. Kama anataka kuchangiwa na watu, mbona asianzi kama ako na akili, mbona asitumie akili yake sahi to at least make people see sense in him. If kama ako na hiyo akili, speak and make us see the sense in you that you are going to change this country. Si ati kuungana na watu wawili, watu watatu kwa boardroom, sijui mnaanza kuongea sijui we want us to be the president just because you think that we have not seen scandals in you. No. Leadership doesn't work like that. Each and every president has to be patriotic kwa nchi yake. We do not need people who will be taking our resources, giving them to other people. If you see the way Israelis do, they are ruling each and every damn corner of this world. Wako China, wako Singapore, wako America, wako kila mahali. Israel is the pillar of this world. Bro, hiyo chocolate yenye unakula, it's an Israeli chocolate. Hiyo kawa sijui Nescafe yenye unakunywa, the company belongs to an Israeli company. These are most of the people who come to Africa to take those resources. Most of the big companies in this world belongs to the Jews. Mvua ilitupiga wapi? If we have people who are going to dash out the resources and have that strong mentality ya kuwa okay, since because ielewani na pipi, then we should remove this person. It doesn't work like that. Policies have to be made and the constitution has to be followed. Which look at the previous president of the US. Mnajua state yake venye alikuwa. But the country was running because of the constitution and the policies that were placed there by the US. So if Kenya can move to that direction, those documents kwanza zibadilishwe. President mwenye atakuwa amefanya vitu yenye imeandikwa in that constitution, it will be a different thing and he will be voted out. The reason why we do not have that IEBC in place ni vitu za kijinga kama hayo. Why should you consolidate power in one person in the first place? Because the constitution allows that. So unless watu waache mambo ya maandamano kwanza, washughulikie hizi documents kwanza, things will work out. But going to the streets thinking that you are going to remove the president, mutaitoa. You'll go the Bangladesh way, you'll go the Libyan way, you'll go the South Sudanese way, you'll go the Yemeni way. Utakaa kama Somalia, just to mention a few. But look at developed countries. Mugabe aling'olewa kwa power. How is Zimbabwe currently doing? Is the current president doing anything to save that country? I can definitely tell you no, a big no for that. And I'm confident telling you that. So, unless the young people si ati kusoma vitabu mbili tatu and start mirroring what other people are doing outside there, thinking that you want to come and apply, you have to study your roots first. You have to study what you have for you to amplify what you have so that you can have that voice to speak. Kenya is a service industry. The reason why we are not a manufacturing industry is because of the public policy is factor. Who are managing these parastatals? Where is the money going? How are we spending our taxes? Hizi vitu zote zinafaa kuangaliwa chini through a public policy document, not the president himself. So how is president responsible for Maram Road in Nyamira? It doesn't work. It's the people of Nyamira kukaa chini, huyu MC ameanza kwa mjinga. So tumemchagua jamaa, kazi zake ni story. So if you have to take everyone, be accountable. Start from the MCA, go to the MP, go to the senator, go to the governor's office. Then let the governor tell you that the government has not released money. Hii pesa ikipeanwa kila siku to county zinaendanga wapi? Na si utaambiwa tenders hazijapeanwa because the government has not released money. But we have a lot of pending bills. Where is this money going? Our brothers and sisters are the same people who are managing these counties. There's the same people who are seated in public offices. There's the same people wenye wako employed in these parastatals. How are we going to solve this mess? The mess will be solved by changing the public policy document. The mess will be changed by changing the foreign policy document. Uganda, you are supplying us with papers, photocopy remove papers. At what rate? What is the agreement? Yes. How much taxes are you going to waive in this? Let us supply you with meat, let us supply you with sugar, give us something else in return at a cheaper rate so that our citizens can do what? Can buy them and the business can continue. Rather than going to the streets, destabilizing the economy without changing these policies, mtu mwingine akikuja, he'll rule over power. We saw the other day, Matiang'i alikuwa minister CS Interior. What did he do? The same things that Murkomen want to advocate for. Tuambiane ukweli. Then who is better? Saitoti was there. Alifanya upuzi yake. All these guys do not ascend to power to please you. Juu wako kwa chini ya mikono ya watu wengine pia. So unless the country works, and there is no way a democracy will work for a country. We need someone who is a dictator, but also a father figure for that matter. Ajue, I've gone to the extreme, na hizi vitu lazima zifanywe. But development has to agenda because in a family, hautakosa watoto wawili, watu watatu, watundu. Because the moment you crack the whip, people will hate you for what you are doing. Wacha nisiongee sana pipi. Change the public policy document and the foreign policy one. It will solve all the problems that we are experiencing today. Na watu watakuwa naenda majuu kutafuta kazi, tutakuwa na makazi hapa because we have everything in Kenya. From the experts to the minerals that we need. Each and every technical ability iko Kenya. Shida is the foreign policy and the public policy document. Thank you for that, Pipi.
Thank you, Dolphin, for that submission as well. He says we should change our public document and our foreign policy document. Sijui kama tunakuanga na hizo because clearly we don't. Otherwise tungekuwa tushazijua ziko. Niliona wali launch foreign policy document a few weeks ago, bwana Dolphin. But it seems like it's only for the e-visa thing. I see Malia and Redarded Okwapa. The conversation is going on well. You can also communicate with us through the comment section if you're busy, and we will read your comments where due. Naona Malia Minam June red-handed. Let's go to them. Of course, we are still calling upon you to support the show. Our brand is supported by you, the listener. Keep supporting us via the Twitter line. Malia.
Thank you, Peter. I think I want to address the previous two speakers. So, what Alwanda is saying is true, that this so-called opposition, they're trying to hijack. You are hearing Gachagua now saying that because he knows with him, so he's saying that now, can you join us? Can we close ranks? We be in the same boat. Obviously, we know that these people know all what they want. They just want power for the sake of power, for their own benefit, And we've seen them like they are part of the past that we want to get rid of. To put it mildly, they are part of the kind of politics that we want to put an end to. We want to put it to sleep. And so we cannot really, if they have to be in opposition and the so-called themselves opposition, and to then take on the opposition on Gen Z movement, because they are not, like, if you just look at even the composition of that so-called opposition, it's just like rejects. It's people they fell out with the current regime, or they never succeeded. Yes, I mean in the last elections. So not say that these people, they are there out of conviction. They are there because they don't have an otherwise, and they want to remain relevant. So because now there is a problem, they now want to come in as they're going to save the situation. But if you just look at the people who are there, surely, even Linturi was a CS in this government. Gachagua was a deputy president in this government. So now when they fell out, you see somebody like Moses Kuria who has quit. He has resigned of his own volition, not at unafutwa kazi ama unajipata you are fallen out with the current, and now that's when you go to opposition. That is not it at all. Or you find that the coalition which you are in didn't make it to State House. So you decide now, let me be opposition. It doesn't work like that. You should be opposition based on principle, not on, of which even Raila himself, he has just been on opposition, not based on any principle. It's just been based on trying to make the best of why he thought that he'll ascend to power. So we can't really call that one as such. Nile tu sasa, what else do you have to do? You go into oblivion if you're not going to be the opposition. So we don't want those kinds of people. We want people who have conviction and who are opposing based on principle, not based on eating the cake. So now you have to start eating the gravy train eaters who are there. So now you have to start pushing back because you don't want to, you want to remain relevant. You want to Kenyans to keep seeing you so that maybe they can vote for you in the next election. I don't know. So that group, Olwande is saying, surely we need to put a lot of distinction. As much as they may be able, may ride on, condemn what is happening, fine, atukatai, but we are not closing ranks with them because they are polluted, actually. You know, they are polluted, and once we decide we are going to go ahead with them, collaborating with them, we are now going to spoil the what we had in mind, the vision that we had in mind when this movement started, because we wanted a lot of cleanup, draining the swamp. Lakini sasa, if you are told you're going to take the rejects who are in the swamp, who are in the cesspool, now you are now going to work with them. Even you lose legitimacy, and their problems will rub off on you. Their past and their whatever toxic past that they have will end up in the movement. So it's fine, they can comment, no problem. And they can even ask us to join based on principle. We can't join them because if they had not fallen out with a guy, they would still be in the government, they would still be doing the same things. And we saw how they were when they were Akina Matiang'i as well. We saw them when they were in power, what kind of people they were. So hatutaki hiyo caliber of people. Mambo ya kubadilisha policies and whatnot. Systems work as well as the people who are actually custodians of those systems. So if IBC, let me put an example of like IBC. If IBC is having a really good system, they can have an excellent system. Of that system, they are corrupt, they can become their system, then is going to fail. The people who are there dealing with the system, handling the system. So in under the cover of night, left and right. So you can do whatever you want to change the policies, but when a president comes in and he's like Kasongo and he's busy corrupting people, buying people left and right, and then he's like, okay, there's this policy, there's this clause which is bringing for me Kizingumkuti to be able to. It's barring me from exploiting my position, abusing my office, abuse of office. It's abusing. It's stopping me. So I pay some people their hands. Some people who are in parliament, and then I bring in another clause to counter. So we can change our. In fact, our constitution is one of the in the region. But our problem now is that the people who are supposed to be implementers and custodians, they're actually the ones who are busy abusing it. So we may do all that. We may do all those things of change the policy so that the president can't be able to be taking it to Nyanza. And then if you fall out with him, he can't deny you your location and whatnot. That's what we were doing when we were bringing devolution. We wanted every county to be assured of their which they're going to get, regardless of whether they are in the system. They're the ones who are in the seats or not. The seat, it doesn't matter. They'll still get their but currently this whole constitution, by the way, it rises and falls at the character of the person who is in office. That is just how it is. So if at all we cannot implement as at now, who says we are going to implement when we add more policies? We won't. So that's why if we know that this constitution rises and falls with the person who will be in the office, we need somebody who has a lot of integrity. We need someone who is, very principled and all that. You see, because if we get somebody who is not, you can see what is happening anyway, and we have a constitution. Now that thing has become like a toilet paper. Nobody is even bothered. It's only lawyers who keep on going to court that, this has been violated, this has been violated. But the guy is what he wants. He's doing what he wants. He's like, there's no difference between now and the time of Moi when there was no, meaningful constitution. He's behaving the way Moi used to behave. And then for those who are saying that we buy shares of KPLC, then what you are saying is called insider trading. Yeah, you can say all that okay, let's angusha KPLC shares, let's sabotage Safaricom shares and all this. But you see, the point is here, when you're sabotaging those institutions which you consider to be government, to punish now these politicians who have decided that they're going to whatever they want, what happens is you end up hurting your fellow citizen. To hurt that now, let's boycott their restaurant, let's boycott their business, let's the shares and all these. The people who will feel that ripple effect is actually not so much the people who own the place back there, the people who are employed there. How do you end up? Okay, it's not that, because these people, they have our money. Like they have, as in hata ukisema wafunge biashara zote zenye, we have been talking here about when they declare their wealth, when they're going for vetting, like for CS posts. We've been talking about that. And basically, we've been asking ourselves, which business is this that you do, which last year your net worth was this, now your net worth has jumped to 1 billion. Ini biashara gani unafanyanga? So we know very well, sio biashara yenye wanafanya, sio biashara yenye wanafanya na wakuwe na hiyo net worth. Ni pesa yetu yenye wanaiba. So going to collapse businesses is just going to harm that shares or whatever the thing is. It is just harming those small people who work there, the waiter, the chef, the who. Those are the people who will suffer, but not really the person who you are trying to target, because with money, with our money. Pesa yenye anaenda kununua nayo nyumba Dubai, sio pesa yenye, even when you look at the investments that they make with the money, it can tell you it's not their money, because who is going to use now this DIG who alienda kununua nyumba $2 million, who, if you made that $2 million legit, like you worked for it, you had a business, you really used your mind, you really strategized and maneuvered, mpaka you've made that $2 million. Tell me the truth. Anybody who has done a business, mtu mwenye amekwa kwa biashara, anaenda, amemake hiyo pesa fair and square, hajakat any corners, hajaibia, nani ataenda kununua na hiyo pesa nyumba Dubai? Can you tell me? That money, once you get it, you want to reinvest it now to expense, or you go into another business, you diversify. Those are the legit. Go even look at Warren Buffett. That's like the one of the wealthiest people in the US. Uko ni $1 billion dollar billionaire. Na mse hana nyumba Dubai. And he has been a billionaire like forever, dollar billionaire like forever. So the ways that our so-called leaders behave can tell you that hakuna sabotage, utawasabotage ati sasa the money they have, the riches they have is from stealing our money. That's why anaweza chukua hiyo pesa aeke kwa bag, aende apeleke Cayman Islands ama wherever there's a tax haven, Switzerland or wherever it is, aeke hiyo pesa kwa account cash. Mtu mwenye amefanya hiyo pesa haezi enda aeke pesa yake ilale tu somewhere kwa. He can't. So that one cannot work. You know, the one I'm saying that can be positive and it can really work is withdrawing. That one of withdrawing them is a very effective method, because this withdraw, you know, the access that they have to whatever funds that they get and whatever fringe benefits that they get from being in those offices is what is sustaining them, is what is making them wealthy. The moment when they no longer have that access, maisha yao pungulu inaenda hivyo. And that's why you see many of them wakishatoka kwa parliament ama watoke kwa hizo viti wanafirizikanga. Many of them they firizika because kitu ilikuwa na watajirisha ni hiyo pesa yenye walikuwa wanapata hapo. So where we should target is where it will hurt them, not where it will hurt our fellow Kenyans here who are just waiters, who are just chefs, who are just people working in KPLC ama working in Safaricom, who are with us in this journey of not even a journey, in this hell of paying taxes until you are like now 60% of your paycheck is going to the government, as if you are now working for the government. So be short-sighted, left-sighted, and tuanze kufikiria vyenye nani anafikirianga, because that mindset ni ile mindset yenye Kasongo anakuanga nayo, and that's why you see anaenda ana insist that, for example, the latest finance bill, the guy will be like, Ati, if you're importing a car, double the tax. That is a layman's understanding of economics. Huu ni mtu mwenye hajasoma ama hajaangalia macroeconomics, because if at all the cars which are being used in Kenya, they are used for utility, zinaenda kufanya kazi, then uende double the tax. Sasa hiyo kazi yenye walikuwa wafanya na hiyo gari alafu ikulipe tax, at the end of the day when you sit down and you look at your target, what you are targeting, you end up not hata afadhali tu ungekaa na what was there, you would have made more taxes. So we need to look at this thing holistically and be advised by economists. We jump into things, but what Luende was saying that, can we sign those nini tutoe pasaris, tutoe one by hata mtu mmoja, hao wengine watati. You can see what happened on tulianza kusema tunatoa watu mpaka wakaenda kuprint t-shirts ya kusema forgive me, because that's where the gravity train is, and that's where we can hit them where it will directly hurt them. Direct, direct, not direct shooting for the hip. Sio unaangusha mtu by kuangusha mtu tudogo twenye wanafanya kazi kwa huyu mtu ama whatever the hell, you know. So Kenyans, we need to take this thing of the signatures seriously. You saw that time when we were really serious about it, uliona na wakachill sana na wakakuwa humble, because that's where their resources come from. Hapo ndio pesa yao yote yenye unaona hii wenye wanaenda kununua nayo madubai nyumba, that's where it comes from. The moment when you remove them from office, wanakuwa raia. Hiyo packs yote sijui international medical fund ya kuenda kutritiwa abroad, sijui ABCD, Z, zote they have to be raia. And they'll do anything for those seats, and that's where we need to get them at. Hapo ndo tutawapata, lakini hizi zingine sijui atu sabotage what akona. Back to you, Peter.
Yes, Peter, can I respond?
Go ahead.
Yes. I wanted to talk about something else, but you'll just allow me just 1 minute to respond to Malia. Malia, I get your frustration with the NSC argument, but you should know that is not insider trading. Insider trading requires, even it comes from the name, that you have to be an insider in that company or have sensitive information from that company in order for you to carry out insider trading. Rather, it means that if I'm a Safaricom CEO or board member or management, and I find out that Safaricom is about to have a deal, a $1 billion deal with Huawei, I already know that those shares are going to go high. And since this is not public information, it's information that is inside Safaricom, I use that information to buy more shares, or I sell that information to somebody who will buy more shares. That is what is called insider trading. Me, as a kawaida Kenyan, buying shares from Safaricom in order to sabotage Safaricom, that is not insider trading. Because me, I'm dealing with public information. I have no information from the company. Secondly, this strategy is legal, if you think about it, because in 2017, Kenya allowed short selling, the Capital Markets Authority. Short selling is where you can buy a stock in order to short sell it, or rather you borrow a security on a stock, if I can use those words, because at a high price, because you borrow a security from you borrow a loan, or rather a security from the bank or something, and then with the intention that you know that this price is too high, that these shares are going to drop. So your intention is to sell this stock high, right? When it's 13 bob, you sell it high at 13 bob with a contract that you can buy it back ikifika 9 bob. This is something that institutions are doing. You as a normal Kenyan, you're not allowed to do it because you're not a big institution. This is why you find that a company that Safaricom can report over 100 billion shilling profit, but share bado iko 15 bob. You're wondering why, when Safaricom was making 50 billion shillings in profit, share ilikuwa 29 bob. But sai, when the profit has crossed the 100 billion mark, the share is 15 bob. Where did the 14 bob disappear from? Why is it not at 70 bob or 80 bob? And Safaricom has not split its shares. Because institutions are short selling, which is what I'm advocating for here. It is perfectly legal. People are doing it. These institutions are not caring about those jobs of those waiters. They're not caring about those jobs of those people working in Safaricom. They are doing it to make money. And because it is Kina Ruto and Uhuru who allowed them to do it, they're going to fund them again in the next campaign to continue leading this country. This is where I'm advocating for Kenyans as well, to join the market. If these guys, this is the way they are making money, and this is the way they are funding campaigns for our leaders. If you remember, Uhuru Kenyatta was able to raise 1 billion shillings in 3 hours. Those people who remember 2017, that when Uhuru had the campaign fundraiser at Safari Park, this guy was able to raise 1 billion shillings in 2 hours. Why do you think these people were giving him 1 billion shillings? It is because they are the owners of capital. They are the ones with the 1 billion. They are the ones with shares in NSC. Kina Chris Kirubi were big fundraisers of Uhuru. Kina, what do you call him? Kina Michael Joseph and the likes. Kina James Mwangi. These guys who actually own shares in the NSC. These are the guys who are choosing for you who is going to be your president. This is why Ruto, when he was talking about hustlers, and then when he got into government, he switched sides. Now he went to the owners of capital. Akamwambia hiyo ilikuwa tu story tu. Niingie kwa hii kiti. Wacha sasa to let us now work together because I've already fooled the masses. Anyway, that was just for Malia. It was not a critique of her argument. It was just setting the record straight. Now for, what was his name? He's already dropped from speaker. I think it was John something or Dolphin or something. I forgot it. He was talking about Maraga, and he said, why people are talking about Maraga and Hana Pesa, like, does he expect us to fundraise for him? I would say yes. Yes, as Mali has clearly stated, people, where do you think someone is getting 10 billion shillings to campaign na salary yake ni 1.2 million? If Maraga does not have that 10 billion, it means he did not steal. It means he did not steal. When he was Supreme Court Justice, he used his salary wisely, made his investments, but hata hesabu yake venye anaigonga, hiyo hesabu haikuji vile atapata 10 billion ya kucampaign. So if he asks us to fundraise, I will be the first one. I will be the first one to send my money there so that he can own his campaign. And lastly, to Ms. Olwande, I want to second you on the fact that Kina Rigathi and Matiang'i are not the leaders of choice. That one I agree with. But you have also to understand something. We are the ones who followed the narrative that we are leaderless and partyless. But remember, if 2027 gets here, and Ruto has not, and half term has failed, we'll have to go to the ballot paper. Now, you're not just given one ballot paper. You're given 6. As much as you choose the president that you want, for example, for me, from someone from Nairobi, I get my ballot paper, I will have one for president, which I'll vote for Maraga. But all the other 5, there will be people in parties. I cannot write a name there for the person I want. I have to tick a box. Now, if those parties there, and this is why I think the leaderless and partyless movement was initially an NIS-generated script, is because they want that ballot paper only has system parties. System parties. In other words, you will find hapo uko na DCP, uko na ODM, uko na UDA, uko na Jubilee. Those are the only parties you have to choose. You cannot write any other name there. You have to tick a box. Even if only one person votes, that one person is the majority. Even if 10 people vote and Ruto gets 4, Maraga gets 6, Maraga is not the president, but for all the other positions, watu wameweka UDA. Because Maraga has not fielded a candidate in Molo, he's not fielded a candidate in Garissa, he's not fielded a candidate in Mombasa. What we are basically doing is we are telling Maraga here, take the presidency, but parliament, it is ODM and UDA who will tell you what to do. So at the end of the day, this is where Kina Rigathi Gachagua are getting their air from. Because us, we've decided we don't want to create our own party. As we've decided, we don't want to create our own leader. And then 2028 will be there saying, Wakenya sisi ni wajinga, kwa nini tulipigia chama ya Gachagua? Kwa nini tulipigia chama ya Ruto? Kwa nini tulipigia chama ya Uhuru ama chama ya Raila? Yet we are not asking ourselves chama yetu ilikuwa gani basi, tulikuwa tupigie na nini? So we should always remember, as I wind up, we should always remember that it is the ballot box. If we don't manage half term, let me not destroy our hopes. We can manage half term, yes. But if we don't, and we find ourselves in 2027, it is the names and the parties that are on the ballot box that will be eligible for the ticks or the X's. If the party is not there in that ballot box, be prepared to see leaders that you do not want. And to see Kina Gachagua, even if he doesn't run for president, say he doesn't run for president or he runs for president and loses, but huko Mount Kenya ni ilikuwa choice ya DCP ama UDA, that those were the only parties that fielded candidates there. Of course, it is only those two parties. People are going to choose DCP. But if there was another party there, like, say, Maraga chooses the Green, I saw him walking around with National Green Party, or what was it called? If he puts a candidate there with that party, well and good. But it's not just one candidate. We're talking about Mount Kenya having 64 constituencies. Therefore, he has to have 64 candidates. In every constituency, he has a candidate. In every ward, he has a candidate. In Nyanza, let it not just be it is ODM that is there. Let him also have the National Green Party or whichever party he chooses. Let him have a candidate in every ward, in every constituency, in every county, and for every position. Then that way, we can say that Gachagua tunyamazie, wacha kutuongelesha, tuko na watu wetu. But if we remain like this, that we don't have a party and we don't have leaders, my friends, be prepared for tears. Be very, 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 very prepared. And I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm not trying to destroy anybody's passion. But let us now evolve from the leaderless and partyless, and let us now start thinking about a party and a leader. Not a leader, leaders. Talking about 290 members of parliament, for 1,450 MCAs. Those are the positions that are currently there. And 47 governors, 47 senators, 47 women reps. Get a party, get all those candidates in total who are around 2,000 from all the constituencies, counties, and wards. And we can get rid of now the system. We can actually do what you're saying, draining the swamp. That is the only way. I pass the mic.
Thank you, Red Hand. We have 52 minutes before we call it a night. I see Dr. Mofo today is not in the mood of coming to the mic to talk to us. So, Dr. Mofo, we hope to get to you one day, talk to us. Also, I just want to call upon you that we need your support. Pale viju kwenye tip ja line yetu. Right now, we are currently at 7,400, trying to raise 20,000 for our studio upkeep. I see we are about 12,600 na kwa space tuko 113. If each and every one of us contributed 100 shillings, that would get us very close. If watu wa 10 watoe 500, tutakuwa tushamaliza. So itakuwa ni very easy. So kama you can go into that tip line, weka 100 bob, weka 200 bob to support us. Tomorrow we are turning 2 years of Home Run PP. Guys, let us not cross that bridge wakati landlord wako kwa mlango yangu. Olwande. Dr. Solande. Okay, Japonji.
Hey, Pipi, I just wanted to respond to previous speaker. Pipi.
Oh, okay.
So there is a speaker who is saying that we need to change, I don't know, some foreign policy, I don't know what policy. Then I refuse to accept that, because do we really think that Ruto doesn't have what it takes to do the right thing. I think as we speak, we have to be very factual because this guy has everything it takes. But the reason why we have these movements is because he refuses to do the right thing or to follow the constitution. You have to differentiate that. How many policies does it need for him or for us to ensure that he can follow the constitution? So you cannot go that route. You cannot keep adding more and more policies, for, I don't know, foreign policy to make this country, stable. No, we don't need that. We just need someone who is conscious about the constitution and do what he said he will do. For instance, does it take an economist or a financial expert or an educationalist or a professor to actually push someone like Uhuru Kenyatta all the way to ensure that we have accountability for the loans or the debts that were taken? Does it take someone who is Harvard material or all that? I don't think, because basically speaking, this is what we are avoiding. We're avoiding facts here. We're just talking because we want to talk, but we don't have what it takes to convince people.
Peter, are you there?
Here,
Am I the only one not hearing anything?
I don't know who is that.
Can hear him.
I need to reconnect.
So what I'm saying, Luanda, I can hear you. Just let me land. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is this, someone, I think the same guy came here and said that, being leaderless was NIS thing. These are some of the talks that I try to avoid, responding to, but I will not just let it go. What do you mean by being leaderless was NIS? There are things you don't just fit on spaces for the sake of speaking. You just have to be, let us talk facts here, huh? But one day I see your hand, unless I can pause to continue if you really, really want to. But let me just learn, okay? So when someone is talking about being a leaderless as an NIS project, I don't get what they mean. We were leaderless for a reason, and we can still be leaderless going to the election. I don't know what part of constitution does this guy don't understand that we can go independently. We don't need a party. We don't need to go to that ballot and start picking all those parties the same. We can go independent and pick our president. And then when all the independents we meet there, then we fight the way forward. We cannot just, cross the bridge before we reach there. We have the plans are there. People are working on them, but you cannot come here and think that people are so naive. We don't know that you can go independent or use a political party, and when we try to avoid political party, people think people are naive. No one is naive here. Being independent, countries have done it. You can go independent, 250 candidates, all independent. We reach the parliament, we forge the way forward, and that is how we sustain the presidency. So the only issue now is you can talk about is now coming up with one independent candidate for constituency and all that. But that is work in hand. But there is hope, and we cannot just look at things like politicians, old guards. And also the other thing I wanted to say, which contradicts what I've said somehow, is that we cannot reset this country through the ballot. You have to acknowledge that it's next to impossible to reset the system. Because let me ask you here, anyone who is coming to take the speaker, what is it that Ruto needs now that he doesn't have to change this country? What is it that is lacking to give us the report of the ODS debts that we are repaying, that we don't even know where that money went, unless he's part of that how you call it, that thing, he's part of it, because there is no way he can be sitting there comfortably and not acting on all these, atrocities that are happening in terms of corruption and the money that is being stolen, and saying that he cannot do anything about it. So why is it so easy to overtax the citizens than account for the money that was taken and follow it to the latter? Which one is easy? It is easier. So these are some of the things that we talk about. It doesn't take even a Harvard graduate or of a University of Nairobi graduate to lead this country. You don't need that. We just need someone to follow the constitution and prosecute, push for prosecution of these people. Look at, as I learned in 1 minute, you look at someone like Morara. You have to give credit where it's due. Morara went around, looked at all the solar projects that were paid. Contractors were paid, and there are mangas in these spaces. Someone was paid 200 million for road construction, for hospital. They didn't do anything, but they took this money. Why is the president not talking about it? We understand the president stopped all those projects, where he used to, to launch every time. It stopped because of Morara. Morara did his part, So we have to give him credit. But who followed up to find out the name of these contractors are there? They were paid 200 million, for example. Why didn't they finish the job? What happened? Why are they not finishing the job and they were paid in advance? These are the things that we are talking about. It doesn't take a lot of all those policies you're talking about. Okay? That's what I wanted to say, TP. Thank you. Back to you.
Luande. Luande, are you there? Luande, kwani uko space ngapi?
Yes.
Talk to us.
Unanisikia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say this. I've heard Japonji, and I agree that Ruto cannot be sent home through the ballot. I agree. But also we have to agree that Ruto cannot home with mandamanos only. I think the most important aspect we've been ignoring is our constitution. And our constitution gives us a mandate to send leaders who we feel are not working home. So this is it. If you look at the constitution about what it says in terms of presidency, definitely if we send Ruto right now home, we say that Ruto now go home. Another president cannot be put in place, whether we want Maraga, he cannot be put in place if the constitution is not followed. So the constitution must be followed to the letter. But again, we always don't use this constitution to exercise our democratic rights. And for example, I gave an example of members of parliament, they can be recalled. We've also not exercised.
Your background music is loud, Grace. Kindly move to a quieter place.
Okay.
Continue.
So, as I was saying, we've also not been able to look at or brainstorm in terms of constitution what we can do to punish these leaders or to teach them a lesson. And I think I gave an example. I don't think there's a place where Kenyans have used the few members of parliament maybe that are there to also sign signatures against the president. Looking at the judiciary, and that's why I'm saying Ruto is not the only problem that we have. The problem is with the judiciary. We have the problem also with parliament. All the three arms of the government has problems. If we look at now the judiciary, if truly we had a serious judiciary, Ruto could have not been in power right now. If truly we had a working system and an independent judiciary, the parliament that we have right now should have been dissolved long ago because, first of all, it does not even respect the two-third gender rule. So, judiciary is also a failed system. You see, in terms of laws and policies, the way somebody was trying to say. So, like, if at all we have to handle this, we have to clean up everywhere, including our judiciary system. We have a constitution here that have never been implemented per se. So whom do we blame again on that? we blame the parliament. You see? So this is my point. If at all we want to say that now we want to fight this cause, Ruto can be sent home by looking at the constitution and using the policies that are put in place, and also maybe with the mandamanos. But to be honest, mandamanos alone will not work. Somebody also talked about economic sabotage. I think it was Malia Davis. And for me, I think it is the best that we can use. Actually, those are the tools even the American use. So they can decide if at all we are going to decide on this, we are going to decide that businesses, parastatals belonging to the government, nobody is buying from them or nobody is paying tax towards that area. Because you see, I always wonder why people will accept to pay taxes and pay to buy bullets to kill them. You see, I think that is a very serious question that people should be asking themselves. So if at all we even decide that even private sector that is working with the government, you boycott. If we say we boycott Safaricom, I think this is something that worked for Raila Odinga in 2017. We decided to boycott Safaricom, and most people boycotted Safaricom to an extent. Safaricom itself came and said, we have to have a talk because our sales are reducing day by day. I think if you can remember correctly, there was something like that. So economic sabotage can also help. It's only that people are not united, as they say. People are just saying here, we are united. But the fact is, we are not united. If at all we were united, nobody would be listening to Gachagua. Nobody would even be giving Gachagua an ear. In fact, even if the local media stations give Gachagua an ear, I see Gachagua goes live on TikTok, and if you look at that live has millions of people watching Gachagua. So you cannot call that unity, and you cannot say that, honestly, we are running for a good cause. If you see people who are connected and aligned to Raila Odinga, anytime Raila speaks, they are there, full swing. They want to listen. At the moment you want to listen to such kind of leaders, honestly, they will manipulate you. Same to Kalonzo. People will still listen. If these politicians tell you that you see you should be having a kingpin, they go to your churches, and churches actually give them that platform. Because I even saw a video where somebody, an MP was categorically, an MP from Kalenjin community, was openly saying the way Kalonzo Musyoka, you campers consider to be in the next government, talk to your son Kalonzo Musyoka. You see, if we have those kind of politics, I don't think we are going to end where each and every person, actually, I'm not bragging, but for me, I believe I always work independently. And ever since I started voting, that it was in 2013, I don't think there's any time I have voted depending on psychophancy. So I know from next year, these politicians will come with 6-piece. And you will listen, you will vote 6-piece. They will come here, choose so and so. You will choose that person because your kingpin has said. So as much as we want to say that there is unity, there is no unity. And if you want to know, actually I can even read you some comments. I think I have some comments here on TikTok and I can read them aloud. And you can actually say that people are not united in this cause. The people who are united sincerely for this cause, I can say they're just a handful of people. Others are sunk into tribalism. And the moment we are sunk into tribalism, we fail to reason correctly, including those who have gone to school up to PhD level. Sometimes when you listen to them speak, you wonder if they truly went to school. So these are the real issues I was talking about that we should be able to address. and we should be able to repeat to each and every person so that each and every person can understand that actually this is the main problem that is eating up this country. So I think we've not done enough in terms of exercising our rights and the exercise in terms of looking into the constitution and looking at the clauses that favors us. If at all you are a fan of movies or you are a fan of reading books and you read some of these ancient books when it comes to leadership, if they could not use thorax to remove someone, they will use laws to remove someone from power. These are things that have happened even before. So these are the things that we are not really exercising. I saw a hashtag bye bye Pasaris. Within 2 days, it is lost, and it is lost up to now. So even in terms of people who are saying let's connect, this is someone who can sponsor a bill to restrict people from demonstrating their democratic rights. Then you want to depend at court hatakubali. Court haitakubali aje na hiyo court yenyewe iko corrupted. So it is you now to stop this thing from even being read in parliament. And how can you do that? Through your democratic right by calling on such kind of people like Pasaris. And she was so worried about it. She went and paid Hot 96 FM to spit rubbish and to tell us how our women are not using family planning. And that is why there is a population. If we look at Nigeria, there are 200 million people. Kenya have only 50 million Kenyans. And you cannot sustain 50 million with the kind of land that we have. An MP want to grab like 1,000 hectares of land, or up to 6,000 acres of land. Then that MP want to ask herself or himself that why are people crying? Why are there no jobs? You've grabbed literally everything. How do you expect other people to survive? So I think those are the issues Kenyans should be looking into before even talking and saying that we want so and so. Whoever is the president, I always see people saying Maraga is weak. Maraga is not weak. If Maraga was able to stop or to nullify an election, do you know the amount of pressure that man went through that time? Do you know the kind of threat maybe he might have gone through that time? Then you tell me at Matiang'i in fact is the best. Why do you want to recycle a system? Actually, Peter hizo ndo swali huwa najiuliza na huwa nasema actually nilikuwa nimefika pale nimesema let me focus on my life and leave these things easy vitu za politics because people don't make any sense. Honestly, if you want to speak to me about Matiang'i, if I remember correctly how Matiang'i alipewa tu docket ya interior, the thorax that he used, the courts, he defied court orders so many times when they were transporting Miguna to whichever country. They even abducted him incommunicado. Then that is the person now you want to say at yo akwanda Jubilee, sasa sisi tunapel at yo the opposition. Then you sit down and ask yourself, look at even Kalonzo Musyoka, look at his history. Mjamaa wa kupitia katikati, we know him. People like Martha Karua. Actually, Martha Karua, when I saw 2007 election, I think I was young. Actually, nilikuwa mdogo sana. But I would feel as a child that this woman does not love her country. Those are the people now stand here that they are fighting. Which rights? And people are clapping. Actually, we cannot ignore those things. As much as I see even comments here, people are saying, oh, we should be ignoring those things, those leaders. We cannot ignore such things. Because those leaders have also influence. There are people who are following those leaders. And if you cannot pump the truth into those people, then there is nothing we are doing. If you cannot pump to people who are supporting Raila Odinga that, no, look at this thing this way. Raila Odinga has been in this position. He has, for the longest time, joined the government. But honestly, he's telling us right now, he's doing some development because he joined Ruto. He has been joining other governments. Why has he not been doing this development he's claiming to be talking about right now? Those are the questions that people should be asking these leaders. We cannot assume that we cannot ask, we should not talk about Gachagua, atiyo Gachagua ko huko. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Because for the moment, I myself am telling you, Peter, I'm finishing. The truth is, anybody aligned to Gachagua, I cannot vote for that person. Because the truth is, Gachagua will be in the government indirectly. I cannot waste my vote. So I think those are the real issues people should be looking into. Thank you, Pipita.
All right, thank you. It's 8:30 p.m. East African time, ladies and gentlemen. Mine is to remind you to support the show. Let's go to Wangeshi.
Hi, sorry, I forgot I was Wangeshi. That's my Kikuyu name. So I would like to, to echo some of the words some of the speakers have talked about. One is we can never be able to remove Ruto through the ballot. That is one thing that is for sure. One, remember this man was an underdog wakati wa last election. He did not have the deep state on his side, and he still became the president. It would be even a shame to him to lose this election when he won an election against all odds. Remember hata pesa ilichangiwa. You remember they even changed the 1,000 note because there was this thing that he had money in his house, which he was giving churches and bribing voters and everything. And the government went ahead and changed the money. But bado pesa ya huyo mzee haikuisha, he still won that election. It would be even weird for him now to even lose an election kama aliweza, yani alikula ng'ombe nzima ashindwe na mkia. So he is going to do anything. Because he only compromised one person at IBC. Let's say only one person, because Chebukati was the person. The other people are what they could not do anything. So I don't know what level of bribery he did to Chebukati. Chebukati has died. We will never know. And he did not talk like Kikuyu before he died and said anything. He never said anything. We don't know why he died so early without telling us what he was supposed to tell us. So this is a guy who, hata kama ni mimi, hata mimi, nilishinda election kwa all those, hard situation, alafu nikuje tu kushindwa and I have all the instruments of power with me. It cannot happen. This guy is not going anywhere. We are waiting to throw him out through the elections. It is not going to happen because it is impossible. And there are also other indicators that this guy is not ready to go. When someone starts to build something permanent in a temporary place, it means he's not going anywhere. Ameanza kujenga church and he has defended that church. That is costing a lot of money in a place where he is not supposed to be there for the rest of his life. So who is that stupid person who goes, tax all his money, and it's not small money, to build something he knows he's going to leave?
$1 billion shillings.
$1 billion, yes. I don't think, hata we ukifikiria we mwenyewe, tuseme uko kwa nyumba ya landlord, and you start putting gypsum in that house, you start changing, structure, kwanza unaanza kuongeza rooms zingine, you start doing like that. Are you really willing to leave that house? Hata landlord will start getting worried. Kaanza kushindwa, unaweka gypsum, unataka ukitoka hapa uniambie nikulipe gypsum yako ama nini? Una change tiles, you even change the doors, unaweka alarm system, unaweka vitu permanent fixtures in that house where you cannot live with. That automatically tells you this person is not willing to leave. That is one thing. Then another thing we need to know, Ruto in his own personality as a person. Ruto has never worked a day in his life in the normal working sector. He's never been in a corporate, apate pressure ya corporate where you need to be accountable and you need to show where money is going and show where show why the company is not making losses or, and profit and all that. The guy has been a politician from university campus. This guy was a politician. He was inducted in politics by Moi. He was a student leader. He was a CU leader. And he used that from akitoka university aliingia politics na Jirongo straight away in 92 with a lot of money. So this guy has never been in a place where he's exposed like now. Because a president is like a governor, you have to govern the country. So incompetence, you can only see incompetence when someone is put somewhere open. When he was a politician, maybe a minister or something, he could play politics inside there and then we couldn't see. But some of us, we saw his incompetence long time ago, So we have never supported this man since post-election violence, because this guy, during post-election talks, him and Mother Karua, and someone has talked about the previous politicians here, him and Mother Karua had to be thrown out of Serena because they took very hard stands when the country was bleeding. They took very hard. That is the first time I say that is one of the things Mother Karua did, which I will never forgive her. She has done so good things, but that one, her and Ruto took very hard stands. Ruto supporting Raila and Karua supporting Kibaki. And it was like, if these people continue to stay here, these discussions will not go on. Because for Karua was like, the loser takes it all, the winner takes zero. It was a zero-sum game for both of them. Secondly, we have to know, when we tell Ruto to respect the constitution, he cannot respect a constitution he never voted for. The people who never voted for this constitution, one of them was Ruto. He was agitating against the land reforms and devolution. That guy did not support devolution. He did not support land reforms and many other things in the constitution. Because if you say you don't want the constitution or you are drumming against it, what are you telling us? So when you expect him now to respect the constitution, I think we are just forgetting. The guy is deputy president. He's a professor of law. Who should be advising him? Uyo Mukomen is a professor of law. Who should be advising him? They have not. Because why? That guy cannot be advised by anyone. So they have to sing his tune. Whether you are a lawyer or you are a professor of law, you forget, you start behaving like a psychopath. That is what is happening in this country. So Ruto cannot be advised by anyone, not even an expert. He is the expert and he will advise you how to advise him. So this is not a person who will, because he had a whole year from last year. You saw what happened. He had a whole year to change his ways. What did he do? He went and bought Raila, thinking that Mandamano will stop. Now I think he's having a bias remorse, because you cannot get someone ndio akusaidie kustopisha maandamano but inachacha. So, and because he's too proud, na kona ego size sijui ya nini, he's not going to tone down. Because we've seen, every time we think he's going to tone down and say something just to bring, he just does something to annoy people. Kwanza leo, amesema watu wote, he's like, you shoot people on the legs. Then I'm like, the vice president did not tell you the implication of what you're saying before you went and said it. He has lawyers around him. They did not even see fit to tell the president what you are saying is wrong. Nothing. Then there is the issue of what can we do? Me, I'm saying Kenyans, kama kutoa pasari imetushinda, Ruto kweli tutatoa pasari? Ule mwenye ni low hanging fruit, mwenye tunaweza mtoa tu haraka hivi, hatutaki kumtoa. Kenyans, if we are serious, we should start with pasari. We should start with pasari. Tumalizane na huyo mama kwanza, we communicate something. Because one, tukitoa pasari hawa watu wengine hawa wenye wanasupportingi Ruto wataingiwa na woga, because you don't know the next if it will be you by saying something stupid. But Fasari is there. She was scared. Someone said, yeah, she was really scared. She thought it's gonna happen. Then what happened? Because tulisema after maandamano Tuesday ni kutoa pasari. Leo ni lini? Because we have been asking where I thought we are doing this thing. Kwani tunaachia huyu mama hiyo ujinga yote yenye alikuwa anafanya. So if we cannot deal with the small rats here, how are we going to deal with this squirrel we have on top? Let me call him a squirrel. So let us be serious, people. Because hata nakumbuka jana, we were on a space. Then we said, please, people, can we just change our pictures? If you support this movement, just change this picture. Hii picha inakaa ya driving school. Just change it to communicate something digitally. Because not all of us, we can go to the street. And also, you saw the way they are doing. Sasa wanajifungia kama kuku. We cannot go anywhere. You know, and then sasa wanaanza kufuata watu kwa manyumba zao. So like, we can still do digital activism. Put this picture here and comment kwa nini za Kasongo. We comment with this picture. Every time he says something, we put this picture there as a comment. Hivo, ana akiposti tu kitu, tunajaza hapo na comment ya hiki kisura hiki. But kwa hiyo space, that space was like 4 hours. I think KOT Songo or Afrocentric was the one running it. People refused to put this picture until wakambiwa, okay, if you are a supporter of Kasongo, we would understand you. Or if you are Afande, we would understand you. But that space had